Om Sadashivasamarampham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So what we did yesterday, all clear, or there are any questions? He completed the eighth verse last time, right?
Eighth one we completed.
Yeah, eighth completed. Okay.
Right, we have to do.
Right? If anybody is saying sixth, that means they have missed one class. Okay. Okay. Remember, the main focus in this Hastamalakiyam is to know Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupoham Atma. Okay, that's why that comes as a refrain. That comes as a refrain all the time. Okay, right through you will find that, and that becomes very, very important for knowing yourself. Okay, because the Upanishad statement will work only after this stage. Because there is still one more step to be taken. We'll come to that here. Okay. So assume everything is clear, no doubts. I can go ahead. Okay. All right. If there are, don't hesitate. What do you call? Yeah. Okay. Let's start. Since I don't see any questions in the chat, I assume everything is clear for everyone. Okay. Yatha aneka chakshuhu prakasho ravirnaha kramena prakashi karoti prakashyam aneka dhiyo yasta eka prabodha sa nityopalabdha swarupohamatma sa nityopalabdhi swarupohamatma such an atma is my I am Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupaha, always available as the I am, always there, never out of sight, out of mind, etc. That I am. Okay. Then he gives an example again of the sun. Okay. Yata aneka chakshu prakashaha ravihi na kramena prakashi karoti. Ekaha ravihi, one sun, prakashaha ravi, the shining sun. Okay. Aneka chakshuhu, many eyes. Na kramena prakashi karoti. It does not take time. It does not bring things to light to everyone. Every eye, one after the other. Here is a water bottle. Okay. Who joined first? They will see it first. Then who joined second will see it. Then third will see it. Is it like that? Or everybody sees it at one stroke? Everybody sees it at one stroke. Therefore, Ravihi Prakashyam Prakash na kramena prakashi karoti. It does not one by one make you see it. But what? Aneka okay. But ekada eva karoti. At one stroke, Yugapat, everything is seen. Similarly, he says, Aneka diyaha yatastu ekaha prabodaha. All the thoughts, one stroke, it's aware of all of them. You, the knower, may have to examine the thought one by one. What am I feeling right now? Feeling a bit bored, yaar. Ye to Nityopalabdhi Swarupam, Nityopalabdhi. So, you may have to examine. Then you may have to move to another thought saying, no, but it is important. No, okay. It's interesting also. Okay. So, when you are focusing as the knower, as the thinker, as the analyzer, it's maybe one after the other. But as I awareness, everything is one shot. Even your perception is like that. If you have put on a gallery view in your laptop, you will understand that very well. At one shot, everything is there. No? It is one unit perception. All the images on your screen is one unit perception. Then you may want to focus. Where is Varsha gone? Ah, there she is. Okay. You may want to focus. That's different. But at one shot, everything is there in front of you. That is the nature of the sun. That exactly is the nature of the Atma. At one shot, aware of everything. Conscious, subconscious, everything. Awareness doesn't have an issue. You, the knower, may have an issue. What is there in my subconscious or unconscious? I don't know. Correct. That is why it is called subconscious. That's why it's called unconscious. Awareness illumines everything that is there. Is illumined by eye awareness. Eye awareness illumines everything. At one shot. Try that right now. Sit straight and be aware of everything that is there in your room. A diffused awareness. My words, your laptop in front of you, the other furniture around. Are you not aware of everything at one shot? Then you focus on the screen because you want to see what's happening. This is the nature of the Atma. It is not something in Timbuktu is right here, okay? It is not some Rishi's Anubhava sitting in the Himalayas. It is right now here. One shot, everything is aware. All the Dhiya Vrittis, one shot. Okay? Yeah. You can take it to mean the awareness objectifies all the minds everywhere. All the minds anywhere and everywhere, awareness is aware of. Through this body and mind, this buddhi. Through yours, your buddhi. One awareness. But that is not highlighted here. Okay? What is highlighted is the nature of that Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa Oham Atma. It is not thought by thought. The same is true, I'm digressing a little bit, the same is true for Ishvara. Ishvara knows everything through Maya Upadhi at one shot. Past, present, future, creation, yet to be created, that which has been resolved, everything at one shot. If he has to go one by one, even he will not be able to handle it. How many of you have seen that movie Bruce Almighty? Many of you may have seen this movie where this guy becomes God for a week. And he keeps hearing a lot of prayers.
Number of emails he has to answer.
Yeah. Therefore, one by one, if you are going to go, he can't handle it. Because there are too many things in the world. And that is also only in one area, Buffalo. See, if God had to do that one by one, I think he does that. That's why my prayers are never getting answered. No, see, if Ishvara also was going to see one by one, you have had it. He has also had it. Then he'll need a computer system to store all the things. And it'll take an eternity even for him to look at everything. That is why we have stories. To illustrate this, even Puranic stories illustrate this. Though we don't, when you hear the story very often, we don't understand what is being illustrated. Like, it seems Narada went to Brahmaji to complain about something on earth. This is not correct, you have to rectify it. So, the courtiers told him in Brahmaji's court, please wait, Brahmaji is having a bath, he will come now. After his bath, he will come. So, Brahmaji's bath takes 5 minutes for Brahmaji. Have a quick shower and come. 5 minutes. He came. Yes, Narada. What happened? He said, I had a complaint on earth, but 5 minutes of your time was 500 years on earth. Oh, problem solved. God. The problem doesn't exist anymore. 500 years later, what problems are you talking about? Yeah. So, what is he trying to say? That in God's life, it cannot be one after one like that. The stories are meant to illustrate that. Even if God takes 5 minutes to come, all the prayers, 500 years have gone, your lifetime is over, your great grandkids' lifetime is also over. So God also has to know everything. Ishvara has to know everything. Yugapat at one stroke. Similarly, Buddhi Diya, one stroke, everything is known. One stroke, everything is known. You are aware of. As the knower, yes, identified with the mind, you have to examine one issue at a time, one thing at a time. Even when you are handling multiple things, one thing here, then you jump to something else, then you come back to something else, then you handle. So that is the nature of your mind. We are talking the nature of the Atma. One stroke. Exactly like how when you are sitting in a diffused state of awareness, meaning you have dropped the thinker, you are not focusing on anything. If any of you is finding it, this is a very good thing to add to your meditation. This diffused state of awareness. Okay, there is another form of meditation actually. If people are finding it difficult to get that, okay, I will give you a simple technique for it. All of you have done Tratak, or at least you know what Tratak is. You keep a thumb, a flame, or a pen in front of you. Watch the tip. Correct? Isn't that what you do in Tratak? And then of course you move it and all that thing. No, here don't move, just do. Okay? If you want, you can try it out right now with your thumb. Move your thumb up. Watch your thumb. Okay? Move the thumb. Watch it. Now do one thing. Don't watch the tip of your thumb. Focus on somewhere halfway. Between your eyes and your thumb, halfway focus there. Halfway. You will find immediately your awareness is diffused because there is nothing to focus halfway. What is there to focus halfway? Empty space. You will immediately find you are getting into that diffused state because you are not focusing on anything. The thinker is almost dropped. Thinker knower is dropped. Unless you're thinking, why I can't get it? What does Swamiji mean by this? And you keep on unnecessarily thinking. Okay. Yeah. Because you're fallen in love with thinking, you cannot stop without your thinking, you know. Okay, therefore, aneka diyaha yastu ekaya prabodha sa nityopalabdhi surupoham atma. That nityopalabdhi surupoham aham atma. Atma. Okay. विवस्वत् प्रभातं यथा रूपमक्षं प्रगृह्णाति नभस्तमैव विश्ववान् यदा भात आभासति अक्षमेकः स नित्योपलब्धिः स्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. Okay. विवस्वत् प्रभातं यथा रूपमक्षं प्रगृह्णाति. Your eyes will see pragrannati. What? Aksham rupam pragrannati. The eye will see the form. That is what? Vivasvat prabhatam. That is lighted up by the sun. Sun or any source of light. Your eyes will see that which is lighted up by the sun. Correct? Na abhatam eva visvavan. But what the sun has not lighted up, you are not going to see. What is there in darkness, you are not going to see. So whatever the sun lights up, you will see. So the sun is responsible for your sight. Surya Devata, presiding deity of my eyes. Okay, but he says, Yada abhataha abhasiti akshamekaha. But how does your eyes see? My eyes see because my eyes are sentient. When I am sleeping, I don't see. Isn't it? If you are seeing something when you are sleeping, you are not sleeping, you are dreaming. So how does your eyes see? In fact, even if your eyes are open, you are not sleeping. You are sitting down. Aram se. You are sitting down. Mind is lost. Your friend comes in front of you. Light is being reflected from the friend into your eyes. From the form of your friend, the light is being reflected into your eyes, but you don't see. Why? Mind and eyes are not connected, mind is elsewhere. And he waves his hand in front of your eyes. Kya khayaro mein hai kya? Oh, sorry, I didn't see. It has happened to all of us sometime or the other. Means what? My eyes can see only because there is a sentient mind behind it. Alright. And how is my mind sentient? Why is my mind awareful? Because there are times when my mind is not awareful also, as in deep sleep. My mind is awareful because of I, the Atma, Nitya Upalabdhi, Atma. Because of I. And why is the Atma awareful? Because Atma is nothing but awareness. There is no why there. There is no why there. It's like saying, why is the water hot? Because the pot is hot. Why is the pot hot? Because the fire is hot behind it. Why is the fire hot? You can ask that question only if there is cold fire. Then you can ask, why is this fire hot? But since there is not cold fire, there can be cold fury, but there is no cold fire. Since there is no cold fire, you cannot ask why is this fire hot. That is the nature. Fire means heat. Fire means heat. Similarly, Atma is awareness. Therefore, the sun is bright because I am awareness. The sun is bright because my eyes are bright. My eyes are bright because my mind is bright. My mind is bright because I am bright. Because I am awareness. Therefore, I am the one that objectifies everything. And nothing objectifies me. I am the one that objectifies everything. I am not subject to any objectification. I am always I the subject. Never becoming an object. This is an object. It will never become the subject, isn't it? It can be a subject of my discussion. It is a subject of our discussion because it's an object. This can never be a subject. Why? Because it is never aware, not awareful. Rupam drishyam lochanam drak. The form is an object. The seer is my eyes. The subject is my eyes. The eye is the object. Mind is the seer. My mind is the scene. I am the seer. No, don't suddenly jump up and say intellect. Okay? Intellect, etc., all included into the mind. Okay? That's all only divisions for our understanding. And what is it that sees you? You are always the seer. The awareness of the seer never goes out. Never. Always the seer. Always the subject I. Never can be objectified. It cannot be objectified, as I said earlier. It need not be objectified either. What do they need to objectify it? You need to objectify this thing to have a relationship here, of seer-seen relationship. You don't need to objectify the self for that relationship because you already relate to the self as I. It's not a relationship that you have. It's I. It cannot be the closer than that. It cannot be closer than that. But Swamiji, what happens when you say, I have to know the Atma? Upanishad deals with self-knowledge. You have to know the Atma, etc. What about that? It's an Upanishadic statement. Atma vare drashtavya, shrotavya, mantavya, nididhyasitavya. Sa atmanam aikshataha. All these statements are there. What about that? That is said because our minds are scattered. We are looking, happiness is out there, come on, let me get it. We are like that Viking, Hagar the Horrible. Out comes my sword. Where is happiness? I want to get it. We are out there. And what I am is unknown. I know I am, I exist. What I am is unknown. So the Upanishad, to shift your attention and to draw attention to the fact you don't know what you are. It says, know yourself. Atmavare drashtavyaha. You should know yourself. It says that. So, the Atma, which is not an object of perception, is presented as something to be known. Presented as something to be known so that you can know exactly what you are. Because Atma is both known and unknown. Known as I, unknown as what it is. What is the Swarupa? Unknown. That I am, that I am awareful, known. I know I exist. I don't know myself as limitless existence. I know I'm awareful. I don't know myself as limitless awareness, consciousness. I don't know that. Therefore, the Upanishad presents me, presents the Atma, myself, as something to be known. Those who have studied the Brahma Sutras with me in this class here, na atma ekantena avishaya pratyagatma vishayatvat. Atma is not completely unknown because known as the I. Asmat pratyaya, I am. Therefore, the Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupam Atma, there is still certain things unknown about it. So to make that part clear, the Upanishad says, Sa Gurumeva Bigachet, Shotriyam Brahmanishtam, etc. Go to a teacher and learn about that. And before you go to a teacher, if you are fully clear about these facts, Nitya Upalabdhi, Swarupoham, Atma, etc., then what the teacher says will work like this. Otherwise, the teacher will make some statements and then look at you. Champion समझा नहीं है. He's not understanding this. He's very eager but not understanding. You can make out the difference. That's why I tell people, hey, if your connection is good, switch on your other side so that I can see how much you're understanding, not understanding. That's why I like a live class. Because not only I see your faces, I see your body language, I see your energy pattern, everything I can make out. All that is difficult on the screen. Can be done to an extent, but not fully. Yeah. And some people will deliberately hide behind a blank screen. Swamiji looks like he'll know too many things about me. I don't want that. That itself also tells me a lot of things. Anyway, that jokes apart, then he'll have to come down and say, okay, all right, we'll start with Drigdrishya Viveka. In fact, modern teachers like us, when we are teaching in public, we always start with Drigdrishya Viveka only. Why? Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupam has to be clear first, na? That has to be clear. So we will present the Atma as something to be known and then start with see or seen logic. What you are aware of, you are different from, etc. All that we will start. So a little bit for the people who have been exposed for some time, how the teaching process works, okay? How the teaching process works. This is how it works. Important to arrive at the Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupam, and then that Atma, what is the nature of the Atma, to be unfolded. If you notice, up to now there has not been unfolded. Okay? We have seen what? 10 verses out of the 14. First was Shankara's question. Has it been unfolded up to now? No, no. Now you know Why Hastamalaka after that still wanted to be a student? After all this? The work is beautiful for students of Vedanta to learn. But after that Hastamalaka, if Hastamalaka knew the truth, was there a necessity for him to go to Shankara? Was there a need? I know the truth. It's always interesting to meet a great teacher. That I've always done. Even after being teaching for 20 years, I hear, oh, so and so has come here. I'll go and meet him. Good. Why? Great teacher. My guru's generation. Okay? He's a great teacher. It'll be good to have some discussion with him. That's a different thing. But you are not going as a student. At the most, you are going as a junior teacher. Fine. Like there are two teachers in this group right here. One is Radhika, the other is Falguni here. They may be juniors, but they are teachers in their own right. Yeah. So similarly, there was no need for, if Hastamalaka knew the truth, there was no need for him to go and learn. He had some insights. Nitya Upalabdha Saropa, very clear. That Atma is nothing but non-different from Ishvara, not very clear. Therefore, he still had to go and learn from Shankara. Understand that? Okay. Otherwise, no, he went to Shankara because he wanted to take sannyasa. Once you know the truth, why do you want to take sannyasa? Farak pada. Swamiji, then why did you take it? Guru Ajna, I am telling you. I know. Oh, I must become a sannyasi, wear saffron robes. Farak kya pada? It's convenient. Whether it's a funeral or a marriage, you can go in the same dress. Convenient. What's the difference? And if you are a wise person, you have the right to take sannyasa yourself. It's called Vidvat sannyasa. Tapovan Maharaj did that. Swami Chinmayanji's Vidya Guru did that. Keeping the sun as a sakshi, he walked into the Ganga, threw off all his robes, came out, wore saffron, shaved his head, wore saffron, and Sanyastoham, chanted the sannyasa mantras. Sanyastoham. Ho gaya. Vidvat sannyasa it's called. Why not? Therefore, the only reason, after saying all these in 14 verses, 13 verses, that he still wanted to go to Shankara, shows very clearly of what learning was left. Little bit only. Little bit. No, but Swamiji, the society structure of that time was such, that couldn't walk out just like that. Who said that? Who said that? In those times, sannyasa was respected much more than what it is today. Today you have a problem, people labeling you as Hindutva because you are wearing the robes. Yeah, those days it was not there. It was respected. Therefore, if he wanted to walk out, he could have walked out without any problems. Sannyas to hum bol ke chale ja. Ho gaya kaam. Enough. If you wanted to do it. If you are a wise person, there will be no need for either. Unless it's just a preference for you. Like a friend of mine, after teaching for years, got married. Why? He preferred that. It's a preference. That's okay. That's like saying, what do you like, tea or coffee? A preference. Lifestyle preference. And if it's a lifestyle preference, you can do it on your own anyway. But that wanting to be accepted as a disciple, as a Sishya, by Shankara showed that. So get this thing clear, okay? Yeah. Because on the basis of this, I see a lot of people say, oh, Hastamalaka was a wise person, this thing, that thing. Then why did he have to be a student? I am sure one dialogue with Shankara would have been enough for him to know the truth. One dialogue, one session. One session of unfoldment would have been enough for Hastamalaka. One session. But that one session was necessary. Yeah, think about it. A wise person doesn't have to go and become a disciple. Why should a wise person go and become a disciple? Yeah. Yeah, it can happen. There is another reason why it can happen, okay? Because I am handling all possibilities. Like after the course, I went to Rishikesh. I studied there for a number of years. Then I met this Mahamandaleshwar, okay, of one of the oldest, biggest Nagapitas, okay, in Haridwar. All Nagapitas have their base in Haridwar. I have a base in Haridwar. So they had invited us for a Bhandara. I went. So we had a small discussion. He called me and asked me a few questions as well. Then he wanted to initiate me. Why? He said, I want you to take over the Pitha after my time. I said, Maharaji, I am not from your tradition. I am from a very modern tradition. You have so many students. Where am I qualified for that? I am talking the 80s, okay? Says, no, I want somebody who knows English, who knows the modern world, who can take this to the 21st century. The guy had that much of foresight, okay? He was thinking in advance. This conversation was in Hindi. His Shuddha Hindi and my broken Hindi with a few Sanskrit words mixed in it. That can be another reason you go and become disciple for somebody because you want the Pita. So Swamiji, what happened after that? What happened after that? I couldn't, at those days, see myself as a Naga Baba. Bam Bam Bole. And leading the Naga procession for the Kumbh Melas and everything. That is not a life I envisage for myself. So I told him, Maharaji, I am honored. I feel blessed. But Guru Seva baki hai. This is one excuse you can always use. Both Guru Seva baki hai. I have to do Seva to my Guru. Both Guru Seva baki. Padhai bhi baki hai. अच्छा हमारा जी बहुत भक्ति है गुरु उसकी. I said, गुरु तो सब कुछ है. गुरु तो सब कुछ है. So that's how I got out of it. Okay. Yeah. I'll never mention the name of that akhada or this thing because somebody else is sitting there and I don't want him to feel he is my Uttaradai, you know. I don't want him to feel that. Anyway, that apart. So this can be another reason. Okay. Can you all hear me? Can someone respond? Can you all hear me? Can someone respond? Can you all hear me?
Yeah, now we are able to hear you.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the connection sometimes gives trouble, as I said. So I'm keeping my phone ready in case there is a problem. I will shift. Okay, I think you all can see me and hear me now. Okay, can you all see me and hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so if there is any major problem, I will shift to my phone. But until then, let us keep it going. Okay. So,
We can't see you. Swamiji, we can't see you.
video.